Hello, welcome to the part 3 of a tutorial series on Adobe Photoshop Elements. In the past couple of tutorials we've talked about just taking imagery and cutting and pasting it into other documents so it makes alternate backgrounds, and then we added some type in the next one, and right now we're just going to fool around with Adobe Photoshop and show you some more cool stuff that the program has to offer. What we're going to do, we're going to take some of the stuff that we've already shown you and really incorporate it to make something look cool. What I've got here is a picture of a motorbike, and what I need to do is we're going to trace it out, okay, or sorry, lasso it out. I'm also going to do this by showing you a couple different tools. So what I'm going to do is we're going to zoom into this area here, and I'm going to start lassoing. All right. Now, we can, if we wanted to, we could start tracing along like so. Okay. And we're going to keep on tracing along, and I loop around in order to join the two ends like so. But there's also some other tools that are kind of cool that could probably help you out. If we click and hold down, we've got the magnetic lasso tool, which the magnetic lasso tool, what it does, it kind of looks for contrast in color. We see that there's some contrast in between the gray background and the motorcycle's mask. If you have an area that has really sharp contrast, and that's what you want to cut out, you can use the magnetic lasso tool to help you out. I'm holding down the shift key so I can add to my current selection. And what I'm going to do is, what it's doing is it's looking for areas with contrast. All right. So it's able to trace around the helmet fairly easily, but then the wheels start to fall off the motorcycle right here. I guess there just isn't enough contrast between this part and this part. You can see that the black motorcycle helmet and the ground, it made a line right here that's kind of nice, but then it needs to get fixed up over here. I'm going to hold down the space bar so I can just click and drag here. We would probably have quite a bit of success around here. I'm going to try it around here because I'm just going to go across here, and we're going to see how that lays out there. Okay, that did a great job around there. However, we're going to run into a real problem here because we've got the shadow of the tire and we've got the shadow on the road. I want to cut out the tire but not the road. Well, I'm going to have to run into real problems here because there's no difference in the color whatsoever. See, I'm going to go here and then it doesn't know where to go. Alright, so I didn't do that bad of a job. So what you need to do is go back to the lasso tool. I'm going to hold down the Alt key because I'm going to take away some stuff. And I'm doing this by hand here. Alright, so let's do that by hand. Another tool, I explained this one in the Flash as well. The polygonal lasso tool is a nice way of doing straight lines. This is where if I were to, I could click and then click another point, and I could close it up by doing double clicking, and it does a nice polygon for us. This helps when we want to crop straight lines. I'm just going to hold down the shift key and click, and click, and click, and then loop around, and it does a nice straight line there. Okay, so that helps for there. Let's see, I'm not even going to bother with the other tools now. I'm going to go straight back to my regular lasso tool because I've already shown you that, and I don't need to, I don't want to have to fix it up. So let's go to, now again, if you wanted to do a really good job, we could zoom into our areas, right? And zoom in nice and close, and then that way you could get extremely detailed with your cropping. But for this case here, for the concerns of time, We are not going to be doing that great of a job. I expect you to do a much better job than me. So let's cruise on through. All right, hold down the space bar here. And there we go. Up, 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 up. And then along here. Up around this guy. Along there. Now you see how I'm kind of looping back. I do a little bit here. And then in order to join my two endpoints, I just kind of loop back here, and it makes a nice big chunk here. Alright. And I got to fix up this helmet because the magnetic lasso tool didn't do that great of a job. Okay, so let's zoom back out. Control 0 is the quick way to do that. And I'm going to just draw that around there. There we go. So now we've got the guy cut out. I'm going to, let's take a look at our layers palette again. I'm going to drag that down to make that appear. We've got our layers palette. We've just got the one layer. I'm going to copy and going to paste. Copy and we're going to paste. Alright, so now we've got a layer here, and then we've got a layer here. Now let's take this layer and I want to start distorting things. I want to start messing around. I want to work with this background layer. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to duplicate that layer. Here, I'll do this over here so you can see it. I'm going to duplicate that layer, yeah, right there. And that way I'm going to save this just in case I need to save it for later on. Because I'm going to start messing with this thing. I'm going to go up to what's called the filters, and let's talk about, we have all these different choices of things that we can do to the background. There's no right thing, there's no wrong thing. It's just about experimenting and doing what's right for you and what's right for your design. It's always good to go into a design with something, with a picture of what you want in your head first, and then figure out how to do it after, because it always turns out better. So let's go to blur, and if I wanted to, we could go to like Gaussian blur, and what this would do is I could, you see, just make things blurry. We could go to motion blur, and what that would make everything look all streaky, and we could change the direction if we wanted to. This would look kind of cool, maybe, but that's not what we're going to do right now. What we're going to do is we're going to do the radial blur, which doesn't have a preview, and I'm going to do the zoom. You can kind of see how this makes it kind of round. I'm going to do the zoom, and we're going to move my tip, and then I'm going to make, I'm not sure how to pick on like this, and we're going to click OK. And this zoom blur does exactly that. It makes it look like you're zooming. Now this is kind of an effect that you might see like on hockey cards or other type of sports magazines or whatever. Now remember, I've got this layer, I've done that to the background layer, but I've got this guy on top. Now, so it kind of looks like you've got your guy here, and then the background is just kind of like zooming around behind him. What would also be cool is if I were to take the eraser tool, and I'm going to click on the eraser tool over here, and I'm going to make that, I want to make it a nice soft, and I want to make it nice and big, not that big, yeah, make it a bit smaller. I hope you can see what I'm doing here. And if I were to go through, and I'm going to just deal with this, if I were to go through here and what this is, that is the eraser tool. I can erase that. Control Z to get rid of that. But I can also adjust the opacity of the eraser tool. That way, if it was 50%, if I were to go through, it wouldn't be taking out nearly as much. This is valuable if you're trying to be delicate with your stuff and you don't want to do too much. Like if I wanted to, I could always go through it again and erase out more anyways, right? So you might as well tone it back.